Hello and welcome to the latest edition to Anfield Index's transfer show. It's me, Jack McIndoe, and Lewis Aspinall this evening.
Hello.
Lou, how are you, lad? Hope you're well, mate. It's going to be a very chock-a-blocker. We were saying in the green room, Isaac and all that, but how are you, mate, most importantly? Hope you're looking after yourself.
I'm good. I've had a good few days. Very happy at the minute. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. It's been a mental 48 hours. But yeah, I'm all right, all good. How have you been holding up?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you very much. And chat, yeah, congratulations as well, Lewis, are in order as well, mate. But yeah, if you follow Lewis on social media, give him a follow anyway, and you'll know the news as well, mate. But chat, we've got a plenty chock-a-blocker show installed this evening. Of course, we're going to be speaking about the incomings and potential outgoings for Liverpool in this transfer window. We've already done a lot of business already, but Liverpool's next couple of weeks is certainly going to be ramping up with, certainly as we had obviously David Lynch on yesterday with Eddie yesterday morning as well, speaking about the incomings and outgoings, and yeah, it's looking exciting, Reds. We're not done just yet, fingers crossed anyway. So we're speaking about obviously Premier League transfer news, all the latest as well, incomings and outgoings, and of course to conclude today's episode will be certainly a lot of the certain bits of Saudi news and European transfers as well. But just to start off tonight's show as well, it was quite right that we mentioned about the news. Obviously, Liverpool's legendary left back, the former Liverpool and Wales defender Joey Jones has died sadly at the age of 70. The left back won 2 European Cups, a UEFA Cup and a league title during his 3-year stint at Anfield. Obviously did feature 72 times for his country, Wales, as well. Lou, I know obviously it was a very and before our time anyway, but yeah, our thoughts from me and you, mate, these are the type of players that Liverpool in our Anfield folklore as well. Thoughts and prayers go to Joey's family at this difficult time, mate, but what a legendary player, and it just goes to show and shape Liverpool Football Club, that's the football club we are today, isn't it?
Yeah, we won involved in our first ever European Cup. Big player in Bob Paisley's era of Liverpool. A very not aggressive, but I think if you ask any fan from that sort of time period, the 70s, like mid to early 70s, late 70s, he was very, very committed to a tackle. He was always up for it. He was so enthusiastic. The clubs that he went to afterwards, he used to get so much stick because people accused him of inciting riots. He was that passionate. But he always used to give like the fist pump to the cop. He was always like, he was just committed to winning the ball back. And I think he's someone who, if you look through the annals of Liverpool's history, you've got so many talented players in your Graham Souness, your Ray Kennedys, your Ian Rushes, your Kenny Dalglish's, etc., etc. Joey Jones is someone who can go under the radar, and I think he's someone who is absolutely a cult hero in this club's history. So it's awful news, and yeah, it's someone who's going to be adored forever just because of his passion on the pitch, let alone what he's won on top of that.
Yeah. 100%, mate. What a player, as Lou said there as well. Reds, if you grew up in that generation, 60s, 70s, 80s, let us know what was your favourite Joey Jones moment as well in a red shirt. But of course, the Joey and the lads that have come before our current set of lads as well, they've helped shape and mould Liverpool Football Club that we do see today as well. But you never walk alone, Joey, and thoughts prayers go to his family as well. There's difficult moments. So firstly, we'll go into obviously the Liverpool transfer news as well. Firstly, we'll start with the possible departures out of Liverpool, Lou, in regards to Luis Diaz. Bayern Munich have learned over the last weekend that Liverpool are willing to negotiate for Luis Diaz. As you can see, obviously this comes from Sport Bild in Germany as well. Both clubs are optimistic that a deal will be struck, with Bayern willing to pay around 75 million euros for the Colombian. Personal terms already agreed, allegedly, from Sport Bild on a 4-year deal. Thoughts on that, Lou?
Are we? We're not surprised, I suppose, that we've said that there's a price for Diaz. This has been, every time it's been rejected, there's always been that sort of tantalising speech from Liverpool of, oh, but he could be for sale. In all honesty, like, I think Luis Diaz he's been a class player at points. We know that. We know his dips in form, his purple patches, his like the moments he's given us incredible. For someone who's in the final 2 year of his contract, 28 years old, if we can get £65 million for Luis Diaz at that stage, I will commend Richard Hughes to the ends of the earth, because if you're Bayern Munich, you've got no reason to be in a panic and thinking, oh God, 65 million here, I'll just have it. He's got 2 years left. He's approaching his 30s. He's someone who does have those big patches of form and dips, but it's amazing business from us when you consider Rodrigo's valued at 87 million. You've got Fofana, who you could get for a cutthroat price. It'd be disappointing to see, but he is someone that you look at in that front line and think, is he what Slot's looking for in a winger? Yeah, he has his moments. He has those patches of form like he did at the beginning and the end of the season, but is that what Slot's looking for in a winger? Someone who's good on the ball, someone who's capable of beating a man, or does he want someone who's a bit more tactically suited to what he wants, someone who's happy playing it slow, who's happy to come back and defend and pass back? Like, as much as Diaz is a top quality player, I just don't think that he's someone he's the standout one in that Liverpool front four, bar Nunez, who you look at and think, I think you're suited elsewhere, to be honest. I don't know if you agree with that sentiment or not. It's one that I could see coming for a long time now.
Yeah, Reds, I concur with that as well, mate. It's difficult. It is extremely difficult as well. Reds, I think we all know the situation with the Colombian. He's very heavily today, obviously, Liverpool's social media account. He's still our player, most importantly as well. He's a very talented player, as Lou's alluded to there, in certain aspects of his game. But as Lou's mentioned, the price tag, if Liverpool could, and obviously if that's right, that Sport Bill this evening, a report on that, a 4-year deal is potentially on the cards. And if Liverpool do receive a fee in that region, I think it's absolutely it'd be madness to turn it down, in all honesty.
Yeah. So, it's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer selling them for that price, especially like when you consider we're not going to set, if we weren't going to keep him, I'm trying to think how to word this. If the plan was never to sell him, we would have offered him a new contract by now worth more than what he's on. And the age he is, and the fact that his value is only going to really decrease from this, it doesn't make sense for us to be offering him that new deal. So I just think it makes complete sense to not get rid, but sell now while the price is still high and clubs like Bayern are still wanting him for the immediate future.
Yeah, 100%. Chat, let us know if you're watching on the repeat or whatever. Let us know. I think, time will tell. This is a deal, as we said, as Dave and Trevor mentioned already over the last couple of weeks on the transfer show. This deal can very quickly develop as well, as long as Bayern put the money on the table that Liverpool are wanting. But 2 years left, so a lot can change anyway. But heading into the next story originating in and around Liverpool at the minute. Yes. Lou, do you want to mention this one? Obviously from Real Madrid as well.
Yes. So Real Madrid, we all know them, the ones who have decided to purge our Liverpool teams in the past with Alonso and Trent and what have you. Apparently, they've accelerated their interest in signing Ibrahima Konate by opening talks with us. However, Liverpool now know that Ibrahima Konate's demands for a renewal, and they're expected to respond in the next few weeks. Almost sort of saying, we know what we need to do, but are we willing to do it? And Jack, I mean, it's a strange situation. We look at Ibrahima Konate last season. We saw how big he was for Liverpool, how important he was to our squad in general, to that back line. He was able to stay fit most of the campaign. He was a top-level performer. But from what we understand, the wage demands are around £200,000. Do we think that Ibrahima Konate, or do you think in particular that Ibrahima Konate is worth that 200 grand a week step up from what he's on now, or do you think he's asking a bit much?
It's difficult, mate, isn't it? I think a lot of Liverpool fans, it's difficult when we all analyse. I think everyone that plays alongside Virgil, even for the Dutch national side, it's always that added badge of saying, it looks easier for a lot of the centre-back partners that play alongside Virgil van Dijk. there was spells last season where it was Ibu, Quansah in certain moments, and there were certain games you're looking at it and going, but obviously Ibu in his past, he's had a couple of difficult injuries. I think he did well. He did extremely well since he come back last year from that injury in which he did sustain anyway. But for me, in terms of, obviously, he's a Paris lad. We've seen over the last couple of months of being linked with a reported link with PSG, fresh off winning the Champions League as well, mate. I personally think 200 grand is suitable, 200 to 250, but it's massively, for me, dependent on if he can stay fit. Because for me, he is the king, well, the prince in waiting in regards to Virgil van Dijk in terms of taking the crown off Virgil van Dijk, if I'm being honest. He's been in the environment at Liverpool. He knows what it is to win a league title as well. So he gets everything about Liverpool. And I think it would be a sensible passing of the guards, really, from, say, in 2 years' time, if Virgil is to retire or whatever happens with him. Hopefully he prolongs his career, but you never know with any potential injuries or whatever. But for me, 250, I think it's an adequate deal, but it depends massively, as we've seen already coming from the Queep there, you mentioned, depends on the player. It's what Ibu wants. If he wants to go, he wants to stay. But I think so chat, let us know your thoughts on that as well. Do you think 250 is an adequate wage for him, 200 to 250 for him, or?
I mean, I'd say 200k is a decent, because the thing is, he's someone who, when he comes back from injury, he's always at the top level. It doesn't feel like a Joe Gomez where he has to kind of work his way back up. But the thing is, like, the injury narrative that stems around Konate, we saw what he was like in the first few seasons. Last season, he missed 34 matches, 8 games, and that was through one injury, which was ironically against Real Madrid. The season before, he missed 34 days and 8 matches in 2 separate injuries. Like, combined, they equal the exact same amount of days, the exact same amount of matches. And if you ask anyone about his fitness last season, everyone will say, yeah, it was impeccable. He was really, really good. He just had that one knock. It was the exact same the season before. And like the commentator says, I think we would see Ibu improve so much not having to cover for the defensive deficiencies of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Obviously, Frimpong's going to want to get forward, but we may be seeing him utilised as a right winger. When Conor Bradley's there, it looks a bit more defensively assured. We could see another breakout campaign for Ibrahima Konate, where he's not having to cover for the deficiencies of Trent at the back and cover a lot of space. And even when he was doing that, he was top tier. It is just a case of what happens when Van Dijk's not next to him. If you take Van Dijk out of that team, what kind of Ibrahima Konate are we going to see? Is he at that top level? Is he someone who could take over the role of Van Dijk? Until we see that, I'm not certain. But I think 200k a week, if he's definitely going to be staying for a couple years, I've got no issue with it personally, especially when you look at what Ekitike is being given. And I think Ibrahima Konate is warranted being given those kind of wages, whereas Ekitike, brand new player in, he's had a good season at Frankfurt.
Yeah, and
it's you
look at the 100% Mason Jack. You look at across the board in the Premier League. He's the best French centre half in the Premier League. Let's get that stated anyway.
Yeah,
the centre half at Arsenal, Saliba, very good. Okay, but for me personally, at both top peak form, I think Ibu edges it for me as well. And as you said there, Lewis and Reds, if we got an Ibu, I think that the one game that stands out for me and probably a lot of yous as well, Reds, is that Champions League final against Real Madrid. Yes, we got beat, but it was basically Ibu Konate on the halfway line against 3 Real Madrid's attackers, him and Virgil van Dijk partners. So it's going to be one of them. Time will tell as well, but Reds, keep an eye on that one, really. Hopefully, Ibu, I think it'd be nice for him to stay, but it's difficult when you've got 12 months left on his contract as well. So we'll quickly move on to the latest in regards to Federico Chiesa, who come out late last night from Mercato as well in Italy, and there's been a lot of reports in regards to the asking price of Federico Chiesa, who's got the best song in the Premier League, by honest. No bias there.
Comparison. No.
Hopefully that adds another 5 million on the fee anyway. Doubt it. 4 Serie A sides are interested allegedly in the former Juventus winger as well. So Atalanta have been his priority, whilst Roma, Fiorentina and Bologna are also monitoring his situation. It's difficult, innit, Lewis and chat, in regards to, you look at it with a new competition on the horizon for Italy as well. I think obviously I forgot who the Italian coach is, but I've seen certain quotes from the hierarchy of the Italian federation over recent weeks demanding that Federico does play a lot more regular football than what he did last season. And if he wants to get back into that Italian side, there's no doubt in the lad's quality. He's the best attacker Italy have if he's fit. Do you think that price tag is a viable price, or do you think it's, you never know with Italian clubs, do you like to get a lot of cheap deals from a Premier League side, don't they?
I can't understand how we're getting that low of a price for him. And like, I'm not an idiot. I know he hardly played last season, and there's concerns if he's good enough, and etc. etc. But I can't understand the logic in this move from Liverpool. I understand it was low risk. It was like 10 million quid. Yeah, just get him in. But I always thought in my mind, there's three reasons why we signed Chiesa. Number one was we didn't think Salah was going to do what he did last season. He was probably going to move on at the end of last season, and Chiesa was going to come in and step up. Number two, we bought him for cheap because we thought we could sell him for high. Or number three, he's just been brought in as a rotation option. And none of those scenarios have panned out. And he's on a decent length contract. He'd be going to the Serie A, where you know he'd perform well because he did it with Juventus season after season, bar the injury hit ones. If we settle for a 40 million euro deal, which I'm not a travel agent, I can't remember off the top of my head, that's like around the 10 million mark. I'll be disappointed, because at least if we were able to double that fee, you could look at it and go, okay, well, in the grand scheme of things, great, it worked.
His market value was only 60, 70 million like a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, exactly. Around the Euros in 2021, he was valued, people were saying about £100 million. And I get he's not that player anymore, but he certainly warrants being sold for more than £10 million. He still, every time he came on the pitch for us, bar Plymouth, he was great. He looked good against Bournemouth. He looked good against Accrington. He obviously got the goal. He looked good in the cup final, got the goal. If people are judging him off of that one Plymouth match, no one looked good in it. You can get more than this amount, I think, personally. And even if we can get the money we did for Jordan Ibe and Dominic Solanke and Christian Benteke, you're telling me that if a Serie A team came in for Federico Chiesa, we couldn't get more than £15 million. But look at what we're doing with Luis Diaz at the moment. I think it's mental, mate. I don't know about you.
Yeah, let's hope. It's always been the case with obviously Serie A side, especially obviously gone are the years, the early 2000s, the legendary, like the Kakas, the Pirlos, the Maldinis, the Nestas. The list is absolutely endless. They're a million miles away. They're absolutely skinned as a federation, as the Serie A as well. It's similar with the current standing with regards to Ligue 1 at the minute. Obviously, the recent package deal for Ligue 1 has helped them recently. But yeah, Serie A, in terms of an influx of players, Scott McTominay going over there, Kevin De Bruyne, Luka Modric as well. So it's good, but they've got money. So Juve, if you want your man. And I think for that amount of money, to just conclude there, Lou, as well, and chat, let us know, it's might as well just keep him, if I'm being honest. 10 million.
Yeah.
Like, I know Slot didn't use them and utilize them last season, but for 10 million, that's cheaper than go out and buying another winger for in excess of 30, 40 odd million that you're probably looking at as well. But it's difficult. It is really difficult as well.
Definitely.
So let us know if you are watching on the repeat on regards to Federico Chiesa as well. Owen Beck, Lou, did you want to mention this? Obviously, 22-year-olds as well. This, when I was looking at some of the data yesterday as well, if that deal did go through, it would have been the fee that Liverpool wanted. Would have been, I think it would have been Rangers' record second highest. I think in around second or third highest expenditure in terms of spending money on a player incoming as well. But Lou, do you want to just bring the Reds up to date? That might have missed this one.
Yes, so Rangers have pulled out of a deal to sign Owen Beck. He's obviously our young up-and-coming left-back. We saw glimpses of him. He went out on loan to Dundee. He was at Dundee two years ago or last season. The Scottish side wants to pay a fee of £7 million, including add-ons, while Liverpool were holding out for a deal close to £10 million. Now, Beck's in talks to sign for Derby County on loan. So while the immediate plan was to sell him, Jack, it seems like we've sort of changed our mind and said, right, if we're not going to get the money for him, we're happy to keep him for another season. Are you disappointed that there isn't a route for Owen Beck to come into this team when you consider like what we saw with Conor Bradley working his way up into the squad and being considered the first team option? Or is it just a case of we've still got 3 senior left backs there, he's never going to get game time, just sell him on while we still can?
He's probably come through the academy at the worst time as a Liverpool player, hasn't he, mate? Liverpool just spent 40-odd million on a new lad from Hungary as well, in terms of Kerkez as well. Nearly forgot his name. Kerkez as well. But he was very heavily linked, I think, a couple of seasons back to Bayer Leverkusen, Owen Beck. Obviously, very highly regarded, has been over the last couple of years since he's been coming through the academy setup. Still 22, plenty of time to go ahead. Obviously, Wrexham born, left back as well. So maybe if Wrexham do come into the Premier League next season, but they've got bare money to spend. But I think a move to Derby County would be quite good, really. I think the hierarchy of Derby County kind of links in regards to the certain ownership structures that he has been in terms of other loans he's had in his career as well. So, yeah, it's just difficult, mate. We've got 3 big left backs at the minute. Obviously, Costas looks like he's staying. Robbo, bit 50-50 as well. But the future is, sadly, for Owen Beck. But that's how cutthroat the Premier League football is. Well, Liverpool, like, it's very, very difficult to get into Liverpool's team at this moment.
Is 10 million a bit cheap? Like, I've got a few of his stats up from the Championship last season, because he played in the 24-25 season. Yeah. In the Championship, he's in the top 14% for tackles. He made 1.83 a match. Carries into the penalty area, top 14%. Successful take-ons, the top 13%. Take-ons attempted, the top 21%. His overall defensive metrics, he's in the top 8% for tackles, 14% for tackles won. Defensive third tackles, the top 6%. Blocks, shots blocked, passes blocked, tackles and interceptions. He was putting out 3.94 per 90. Like, there's a real talented player here, both in terms of defence and attack. We've just been saying about Chiesa being offered such a low fee, but do you think trying to flog Owen Beck, who clearly has a very promising career, for 10 million is a poor result on our end?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think very similar, I'd say, maybe in my analysis is it Larouci, the French left back that we used to have. He turned up at Sheffield United was it last season or the year before when you were in the Premier League. Similar developments, didn't really quite make it in the Premier League, was loaned out to the second tier of France and all that. And he was very highly regarded. Sadly, he got too many injuries, Larouci. But yeah, it's certainly, mate, a bit similar. It's maybe a Sunderland. If I was a Sunderland 22-year-old player that's coming through, but I don't know currently Sunderland, but like a team like Sunderland, for me personally, should be going in for a player like Owen Beck. Rangers, big history, as we know, but I think that would have been a massive outlay in regards. But if Liverpool are holding firm, we're not going to be getting budged. But by all accounts, as you said there, Lou, I think Liverpool are quite happy to keep him at the minute, loan him out, and then wait for that extra 3, 4, 5, 6 million next summer maybe, or even in January. Depends on if Derby County are doing quite well as well, mate. So Reds, and just quickly to mention, I think chat were mentioning, we haven't got it up here, but Stefan Bajcetic, I think someone mentioned anyway. Yeah, at the minute, still out injured as well, there, foul. So yeah, nothing at the minute in terms of any incomings or outgoings for Stefan Bajcetic at this moment, present time anyway, bud. So we'll move into the potential, the good, the exciting news as well. So obviously that was the outgoings as well, Lou. But as you can see, I'll let you introduce this. This is coming from Alex Crook, who's got quite a fair couple of bits right in regards to the last couple of months with regards to certain stories with Liverpool as well. But do you want to just bring Reds up to date in this story originating this evening?
Well, because we are the greatest club in England and we've got sway and pull like no one else. So Alexander Isak, after the recent developments, everything that's gone on in the past few days, few weeks, has supposedly said to Newcastle that he wants a free 100 grand a week contract to stay at Newcastle. Now, we can all pick fun at this. We can all look at the situation with Ekitike and Newcastle and us saying that it wouldn't work and us saying that they can't rotate and play that two at the top, what have you. But at the same time, Jack, like, you said it perfectly before we went on, that they've opened Pandora's box in the sense of, if they can't go out and say, well, Alexander Isak's worth 150 million quid, and expect them to just say, yeah, I'm happy on the wage I'm on. If you value a player at that amount, you've got to pay him what he's worth. I mean, is this a Newcastle mistake on their end, or do you think this is something that was... Do you think this could be a power play from him to try and force a move out the club?
It just screams lack of experience at every level of Newcastle Football Club. No disrespect to them anyway, but like, if they do, and as you said, if they value the player at 150, whatever, even higher or something ridiculous, he's a very good player, and I think Liverpool maybe might come to the table with 150. But that's me being living in the clouds, really. But with all of them, but it's if they do give him a new contract, then Bruno Gomares, Tonali, any other newcomer players, Lewis Hall, Livramento's been linked with a move to City over the last couple of weeks as well. If they want to play with the big boys, Newcastle, they need to start spending the big wages as well. This is what I don't think a lot of Newcastle fans, for me personally, have got loads of Geordie mates and been going back and forth this week as well. And I said to them, we're going to get Ekitike because we're massive as well. But it's just due to the experience of being in these sort of transfer dealings. We sold Coutinho for big money, and we brought in two instrumental players in regards to Virgil van Dijk and Alisson that have helped us win Champions League, Premier Leagues as well. You need to sell to buy at Newcastle's level at the minute. They are not on the level of a City or a Liverpool. Maybe in 5-10 years' time, where they've had, like, say, an Arsene Wenger, where he finished like 10-15 years on the bounce in the Champions League positions. And then you've got the expenditure to go out and spend big wages, go out and spend big players as well. It's all right having them one of the most richest owners in the Premier League, but when the books are saying that you haven't got enough money income into the football club, you can get all the sponsorship deals that you want, but yeah, the money doesn't work out anyway. But yeah, I'm made up, mate, if I'm being honest. Because it's a win-win for Liverpool at the end of the day. Because if Isak was to sign a 300k a week deal, I think there might be a potential buyout clause there, really, for Liverpool, or whatever happens anyway. But it's a win-win for Isak, for the big Swede anyway. So yeah, I think him and his agent to be very happily pleased with that as well. Another Liverpool link as well, obviously. Sacha Taglieri as well. Obviously, he did speak to Anfield Index with Dave a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, obviously on May the 24th. It was Dave already anyway on that interview. And the lads asked him about, obviously, Milik Fofana. And Sacha does allude this evening as well. As soon as Federico Chiesa's departure to Syria is finalised, the Reds are expected to move for the Belgium, who was highly rated by the scouting departments, as revealed, obviously, to Anfield Index a couple of weeks back anyway. The Belgium, very highly regarded. Obviously, as we know, Lyon are going to be in the Ligue 1 this season as well. And they've got big debt currently, but they've managed to stave off the tax man and everyone else really knocking on the door and all that. But could you see a deal of this nature progressing if, as we've just alluded, I think it kind of ties into the Federico Chiesa one that we mentioned before, possibly coming to Liverpool?
I think there is. He does seem very much like a player Liverpool would have went for. I mean, if you'd have asked me 12 months ago, I feel like he would have went, yeah, he's young, he's up and coming, he's someone we can sell for a higher fee in the future, blah, blah, blah. He's not ready-made. He's not the finished article. He is very much a player who's good on the ball. He likes running opposition defences. Like in Europe's top 5 leagues last season, he ranks in the top 9% for progressive carrying distance, top 2% for progressive carries, top 6 for carries into the final third, top 13% for carries into the penalty area. He is very much someone who's good at picking up the ball from deep and running with it and making things happen. He's like an outlet player. By that I mean when we're under the cosh, he's someone you can keep a little bit further forward, get the ball to him, he'll run with it and make things happen and create space. I can see a world where we do this, but I feel like it's if we don't get other players, which I'm sure we'll talk about shortly maybe, but at the same time, there is another player there who's very good at picking up the ball from deep, is homegrown, someone who we've seen a lot of this pre-season, and that is Rio and Gamoa. And I think there is a world where we could see signing a Fofana who's there for the long term, potentially stunt the development of him breaking into the first team. Might be completely off by that, but this feels like a transfer that we could go for if we don't get like a Rodrigo, like we've already been mentioned. And while I do think Malik Fofana is one of the most promising up-and-comers in Europe at the moment, he's certainly shown that time and time again. 11 goals, 5 assists last season. He contributed massively in the Europa League, I believe it was, Leon were in. Yeah, the Europa League, 6 goals, 1 assist. I think there's other people that we'd like to see us go for ahead of him. But it's not one I'd be opposed to at all.
Yeah, and what ties us perfectly, as you mentioned there, the final news story in regards to Liverpool this evening as well, Reds. There's a couple that we'll just mention as well, firstly. Obviously, it's coming from Madrid Zone in terms of Marca, so obviously the Spanish publication. Real Madrid's mouthpiece, as we know, currently in Spain. So it's reporting this evening, and this is where it ties into Rodrigo in a little second as well. Xabi Alonso has now informed every player in the squad of their exact role, what their role will be in the team. Certain players are now considering leaving the club, so whether Rodrigo is one of those players. So he's been quite clear with his instructions as well. And this goes on to another article that was linked to The Athletic as well over the last 48 hours, reporting Real Madrid believe there are too many attackers in the squad and some departures are expected to take place this summer as well. So bear those two article reports in mind as well. Liverpool closely monitoring Rodrigo's situation. He is one of the candidates to replace Luis Diaz if he leaves as well. It's come from Pletigo as well. Real Madrid are open to selling, but the package will be very expensive finally on this one, and this comes from Santi as well. Take this with a pinch of salt as well. Liverpool are in talks with Rodrigo's entourage about a potential move. There are no negotiations with Real Madrid as of yet, but the Reds are becoming increasingly interested. Lou, top player. Everyone knows about this lad's quality. Everyone that's been getting involved on every Liverpool channel or whatever videos, he's probably would you say, for you, your personal best choice if Diaz does leave? And if so, like what ballpark? And just in regards to these reports, do you think there's a bit of truth possibly coming out in the next week or so about this?
I think if you'd have asked me a year ago, I'd have said, nah, this is just a big PR stunt. If you ask me after we've just signed Vert and Ekitike and Frimpong and Kirkes and we're being linked to Isak and Gay, like, I 100% believe we are there or thereabouts in terms of discussion for him. We talk a lot about how in the past we used to sign promising players who we could develop into big name footballers, like your Emre Can's is the first one that pops to my mind. We're not doing that this summer. We're doing people who are ready to go, who are ready-made. You're talking about someone who's a multiple-time Champions League winner with Real Madrid, one of the best wingers in world football, one of the best progressive carriers of the ball, who's so good on the counter-attack, so good in transition, is incredibly versatile, can play any wing, he can play centre-forward if you need him to, and I think that's something that we need to consider. We are losing Salah to AFCON at one point. We are potentially losing Luis Diaz, and we saw in pre-season, take it with a pinch of salt, how much players are playing in different positions. We saw Szoboszlai at right back, we saw Frimpong at right wing, we saw Chiesa through the middle. Slot likes versatility. He likes players that are capable of playing in those multiple positions as and when he needs it, like we saw Luis Diaz last season. Rodrigo's creative stats, like someone's just put perfectly, are off the chart. He's so good at putting the ball into the box, which Ekitike, a player who's very good on the half term, who's going to find a lot of space to work with, is going to thrive off. Mo Salah having that quick pace on the opposite wing, someone who's an outlet for him on the opposite side, amazing. Van Dijk with his switches of play to Rodrigo, incredible. Lots of space to run into. I think if you're talking about we need to sign players who are ready-made, ready to go, it's a lot of money, but we've just broke the transfer record with Vert. We're talking about Isak for 120 to 150 million. 87 million pounds for Rodrigo is somewhat expensive. That's what Real Madrid paid for Gareth Bale back in 2013. Yeah. His wages will be high, but he's a player who warrants it. It's not like a Fofana where you think he could turn into something massive. Rodrigo is something massive. He is a Real Madrid player, and the only reason he's not getting in this team is because there's Mbappe, there's Vinicius Jr. He doesn't suit Alonso's style, what have you. Yeah. If we want to continue to compete and we want to continue to assert ourselves in this window and next season onwards, signing a Rodrigo is the right way to do it. And I think he will complement Ekitike's style of play, not just in the air, but in the build-up play, in defensive work. I think he'll be phenomenal for us, and I really, really hope this is one that we can get done.
Yeah, Reds. And we've got to, you'd like to hope that Liverpool are thinking 2-3 years down the line of a post-Salah era as well, because replacing Salah, whether that be Rodrigo or whoever in the future, it's going to be an extremely difficult situation to do. And that's why I think, obviously, bringing in Wirtz as well, balancing that creativity, the loss of trends. 2-3 years' time, we do lose Salah as well, or if he is to move on, then yeah. So Reds, that has been Liverpool's incomings, contracts, incomings, outgoings as well. So Reds, let us know your thoughts if you are watching the repeats on all those stories in regards to Liverpool as well.